Hello fellow scrubs, I'm Danalynnex, and I'm walking you through Overwatch. Today, you might be wondering why I have a scar on my face. Well, that's because we'll be talking about Reinhardt. Reinhardt Wilhelm is a 61-year-old German adventurer and one of the original members of the Overwatch strike team. When Reinhardt was about 51 or so years old, he was forced into retirement and he was not having it. So he took it upon himself to don his old armor and travel the world righting wrongs and doing what he morally thought was best for the world as it descended back into chaos because Overwatch had finally been disbanded. So, if you really enjoy drinking ale and smashing things with your hammer, you're really going to enjoy playing Reinhardt. Reinhardt is a great tank and a wonderful ally to have on any team. Though through the addition of Ariza, some people might say that he's irrelevant now, I beg to differ. I think he still has plenty of uses. A well-played Reinhardt can effectively protect you and also deal some serious damage to the enemy team.
Best round. Double, triple kill.
Reinhardt has 5 main components: his hammer, his charge, his barrier, Firestrike, and his ultimate Earth Shatter. The first and foremost thing to remember when playing a tank character is that you're just that, a tank. I don't know how many of you have played games like World of Warcraft, but tanks are really important, almost I would say as important as healers, into keeping your team alive. Your barrier is the most important thing you can do as Reinhardt because you can control a lot of situations just by protecting yourself and your teammates. Your barrier does only have 2000 HP, so you do have to watch it. And the best thing you can do for yourself and for your teammates is to call out when your shield is about to break. This is extremely important. So if you have a mic, it is best to let them know. If you don't, not the worst thing in the world, but extremely helpful for your team to know when they're going to start taking damage. If it gets destroyed, it has a 5-second cooldown, but eventually it will recharge itself back up. In the meantime, either charge, swing your hammer, or get out of the fire for a moment. Let it charge back up and then get back in there, start shielding your teammates again. So what are some of the benefits to telling your teammates that your shield's about to go down? The biggest benefit is letting your healer know that they're going to be on double duty, but also it helps to let your squishy team members know, shoot, I'm going to die if I don't do something. It's because they're going to just stand there in a nice little pile behind you, or at least they should be for the most part if they're ranged. They're going to want to scatter the moment your shield goes down, so they're not all just one big pile of targets for the enemy team. So it is really good to let them know when your shield's going down. And on top of that, if there is another tank on your team who also has shields, like Ariza or Winston, maybe even a Symmetra, even though she's not a tank, but her shield could help for a second, I suppose. One main thing your shield doesn't do is it doesn't protect you from flankers or aerial. So what do I mean by that? Enemies like Pharah fly around, and since your shield only shields the front of you, unlike Winston, who's a bubble, you're going to want to make sure that sometimes you're looking up and putting your shield up. But that leaves you vulnerable in front, and obviously you're vulnerable in back. So a good way to keep yourself from dying from flankers is just use your ears and listen. If they're getting close to you, it's okay to drop your shield just to swat them away. It's enough to probably scare them. But whatever you do, don't just turn around with your barrier, because then the other people firing at you are just going to continue firing too, and then your teammates are left without a shield. So if you have to, swat, but more than not, the teammates behind you should be taking care of it. It is their job to do that. Just remember, whenever your shield breaks, your hammer is a very powerful weapon. Just swing it a little bit and it will do tons of damage. Second, your charge. You won't always just swat at people with your hammer, as fun as it is. Sometimes you squash their puny little bodies with your enormous armor. Your enormous armor. Giggity. I realize a lot of the times you won't always have time to call out when you're putting your barrier down. If you see perfectly a squishy or somebody in your line of sight that you can charge, go for it, especially if they're a healer or a squishy on the other team and you know for a fact you're going to be able to kill them. yeah, go for it. Absolutely. Just make sure your team's not taking on a ton of fire at that time too. Another thing to remember is if you're going to charge out, for the love of God, remember one thing and one thing only. Do not charge out so far that you either line of sight your healer or just too far from your healer, and you're not too far from your teammates. Most likely, you're gonna die. And a tank is no good on a team if he's dead all the time. So again, just to reiterate, unless you know you're going to kill somebody on the other team, especially a healer or squishy, just don't do it. Shield your guys. Yeah, if you could turn the tide with the team if you make it a 4v6 or a 5v6. However, make sure again that you can get that kill. If it seems a little dicey, it's better to just protect your teammates. Because if you die, you basically leave your team to the slaughterhouse. That's no bueno. If you seriously mess up and you're realizing your charge is not going to hit, you can cancel it by hitting the button again. Don't be afraid to do that. Yeah, you'll look a little silly and someone might make fun of you, but like, seriously, just cancel it and then go back to protecting your teammates. You don't want to run in, especially if you see a bastion. If you see a bastion as you're charging, stop immediately, put that shield up, back up. Just back up. Unless you're really close, you're not going to take him out. He's going to get you down until you just die, and then you sadly just roll into his body dead. And then you watch it again, the play of the game, and you're like, damn it. It's embarrassing, guys. I may or may not have done it a few times. I get a little aggro bro when I'm playing Reinhardt. With the charge, again, just remember, always aim for the healers, always aim for the squishies. Sometimes a tank might throw themselves in front of your charge and make you charge them instead and pin them to the wall. Because your pin usually kills someone instantly, most tanks, if not I think all for that matter, they're not going to die immediately. So as soon as you charge them and pin them, throw a Firestrike and start hammering away. They'll die pretty quickly after that. Speaking of Firestrike, we come to the third thing you should remember when playing Reinhardt. Firestrike is your only true ranged attack. Whenever you see enemies bunched up together, or maybe even another Reinhardt, because the Firestrike will go through his shield, go ahead and throw it out. You don't even have to call out that you lessen your barrier. Just lessen it real quick, throw it out, put it back up. You're going to do a little bit of damage to the other team. It most likely won't kill anybody unless they're already low. And remember that the Firestrike, it moves very slowly, so it's best to aim at someone who is bunched up or another character who is also slow, or you're probably just gonna miss. And it is kind of a long cooldown, so just be wary of how you use it. Just one thing to remember, as always, I'm going to reiterate this one more time. Don't use it if you're taking on a lot of fire. Just keep your barrier up. Keep your barrier up. Your Firestrike isn't that important. However, keeping your healer and your squishies alive is. So just be mindful of how you're using it. And as we've previously stated, you can use it in combos. And it's always best to use the Firestrike in combos. So maybe sometimes just throwing it off isn't the best idea. Just, use your brain a little bit. Think about it. And that brings us to our last point. Your ultimate blasts on the ground in a big cone. It does melee damage and it stuns the enemy onto the ground. As with most ultimates, you're going to want to pair this one with somebody else's. It doesn't necessarily kill anybody unless they're low again. So it's best to spam that your ult is ready and see if any of your other teammates can comply. You won't always be able to pair your ult with somebody else. Situations call for different things. However, if you can, try to pair with maybe a Diva, a Hanzo, a Reaper, a Junkrat, anybody who could do a mass amount of damage in a small time, because they're just laying there ready to die. So you might as well go ahead and have somebody else do that final bit of damage. So if no one has your ult, or you just find yourself in a situation where you need to use it because you're taking on way too much fire and there's no way for you to swing it all away, just go for it. Just go for it. It's fine. There's a few instances which it might be the best time to use, which is if they can't escape it. So if you're in a hallway or you're in between like a payload and a wall, go ahead and slam that Earth Shatter down. Here's a few things you might be able to do to then kill someone. You're going to want to either Firestrike, if you can. and then immediately charge. And you have to be quick about it. You can't just like Firestrike and then wait 2 seconds to charge, because they're going to immediately shoot up the moment you shoot them and be able to run away. So you're going to quickly Firestrike and then charge and try to aim again, as I've stated many times, for a squishy or a healer. Those are the people you want to take out immediately. So just do it. If you can't do that, it's fine. Firestrike, charge, you should get them down, swing a few hammers. And here's the bonus thing though, if you go for a squishy and a healer, you'll kill them immediately, and hopefully by the time they're dead, you can go ahead and start swinging at another stunned person before they all get back up. It's wonderful. Alright, my less scrubby scrubs, that's the end of our Reinhardt walkthrough. Please tap that like button, and please subscribe to SLAYTRIX and our other channels, HissyFit and Snarled. And if I missed anything in the Reinhardt walkthrough, please leave a comment down below giving us your tips and tricks to becoming a beastly Reinhardt. And remember, always have fun, and teabagging is still rude, but also hilarious. The D out.